Every summer, the Premier League transfer window dominates every back page, every sports channel, and every football conversation in England. Hundreds of millions spent. Agents earning more from one deal than most clubs see in a decade. Players move between clubs with the same vocabulary used to discuss commodities markets. It is the most visible, most expensive, most relentlessly covered part of English football. Simultaneously, 11,000 other football clubs in England are also building their squads for next season, with no budget. Or a budget so limited that the word budget is almost an insult. They are competing for players at levels 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. They are finding talent in Sunday leagues, university football, other countries, players released from the professional game, and every other source they can access. Their transfer window looks nothing like what is on the television. And it matters far more to the health of English football. The first thing to understand is that the formal transfer window, as most people understand it, does not apply to clubs below the National League. The summer window and the January window, with their FIFA-regulated deadlines, their registration requirements and their international transfer protocols, govern the Premier League, the EFL and the National League at Level 5. Below Level 5, the system is fundamentally different in structure. At Level 6 and below, most players are not contracted professionals. They are registered participants. They register with their club through the FA's IFAS registration system. They agree terms, usually either no payment at all, a modest expenses figure, or a small appearance fee. And in most cases, they can move between clubs with considerably more flexibility than a player at championship level who is bound by a legally enforced employment contract. The FA sets registration deadlines for each of the regional and national leagues involved, and these typically close in late March. After that point, no new players can be added to a squad until the following season begins. The distinction between a contracted professional and a non-contract registered player is not just administrative. It changes the entire economics of how a club builds its squad. A non-contract player can, in most circumstances, give notice and move to another club in the same or different league far more easily than a contracted professional. This creates a player market that functions on relationships, on reputation, and on the quality of the football and the club environment being offered. At the bottom of the pyramid, the best recruitment tool a manager has is not money. It is the ability to make players want to be there. At Level 5, the National League, clubs can and do pay semi-professional or professional level wages. The clubs competing at the top of the division, aiming for promotion to League 2, typically operate with total wage bills of between £300,000 and £1 million per season. Individual players at this level can earn between £200 and £800 per week, with signing-on fees and appearance bonuses on top for the best performers. This is professional sport with professional standards, even if the crowds are smaller than the Football League. At Level 6, the National League North and South, budgets drop significantly. The majority of clubs pay some form of expenses payment rather than a formal wage, typically between £50 and £200 per week per player, with bonuses for wins and clean sheets. A manager at this level might have a total playing budget of between £100,000 and £300,000 for the entire season. A typical squad at Level 6 might cost the club between £1,500 and £3,000 per week in total player-related expenditure. At level 7 and below, many clubs pay nothing at all. Players come because they love football, because the club is part of their community, because their father played there, or their friend manages the team, or because it is the closest competitive football to where they live. The manager might receive a small honorarium for his time. The goalkeeper coach is a former player who gives up his Saturdays. The kit man is a retired supporter who has been doing it for 20 years. This is where the vast majority of English football clubs actually operate. And it is where the game finds much of its soul. How does a non-league manager with no transfer budget and no scouting department build a squad capable of winning a title or achieving promotion? The answer is a network built over years of being inside the game at this level, watching games at every level in the local pyramid, building relationships with other managers, with academy staff at professional clubs, with agents who work specifically in the non-league market, keeping a mental database of every player you have seen who might be available and who might be right for what you need. The most common recruitment method for clubs at level 6 and below is personal observation of local football, county leagues, university football, Sunday leagues, veterans leagues. These competitions are not glamorous. They take place on parks, pitches and council-maintained grounds with changing rooms that have not been refurbished since the 1980s. But they are full of players with genuine ability who have never been in the professional or semi-professional game. A manager who watches 20 Sunday league games in a season with the right eye and the right knowledge will identify 3 or 4 players worth approaching. That is how squads are built at this level. That is how they have always been built. Release professionals are another critical source of talent for non-league clubs, particularly at level 5 and 6. Every summer, Premier League and EFL clubs release players whose contracts have expired. Some of these players are young and have not yet established themselves. Some are in their late 20s or 30s with established professional careers behind them. Many of them still have the ability and the motivation to play at a high standard. For a National League club, signing a player with League 1 or League 2 experience on a free transfer or modest expenses deal is a significant coup. The player continues to play. The club gets quality they could not otherwise access. It is a market that works when both sides approach it honestly. Clubs operating from level 5 down to level 2 of the National League system can take players on loan from Premier League, EFL and other National League clubs. This element of the system is particularly important for clubs at level 5 trying to compete at the top of the division, and it has a significant impact on the development pathway for young professional players. For a 19-year-old at a Premier League academy who has never played in front of competitive supporters, being sent on loan to a National League club is frequently the most important football experience of their career to that point. Playing in front of 2,000 or 3,000 supporters who are genuinely angry when you make a mistake, who hold you accountable for every decision, and who celebrate when you do something right is a fundamentally different environment to academy football. The physical contact is different. The pace is different. The accountability is different. Academies produce technically developed players. Non-league loan spells produce mentally tough ones. Jamie Vardy was playing for Stocksbridge Park Steels at level 8 when he was signed by Fleetwood Town for £30,000. Fleetwood then sold him to FC Halifax Town for £15,000. Halifax sold him to Sheffield United for a small fee. Sheffield United sold him to Leicester City for £1 million. Leicester City won the Premier League. Jamie Vardy scored 24 goals in their title season. His journey started at level 8 on a non-contract basis, watched by a part-time scout. That is not an anomaly. It is what the pyramid is designed to produce. Every level of English football is a stage in the journey of players whose destinations nobody can predict. Once a season, the non-league transfer market produces something that reminds the entire country why it exists. A club from level 6 or 7 is drawn against a Premier League or Championship side in the FA Cup. The manager has to prepare a squad of part-time players, many of whom work full-time jobs during the week, to compete against professional athletes for 90 minutes. And sometimes they win. The FA Cup is the most important event in the non-league calendar precisely because it functions as the largest possible showcase for players at this level. A striker from level 7 playing in front of a television audience for the first time in his life against professional opposition has one chance to change his career trajectory. That game is his transfer window in every meaningful sense. Scouts who would never otherwise attend a level 7 match are in the stadium. Social media will carry his performance to thousands of people who have never heard of his club. One match can do what months of watching county football cannot. The reduction of FA Cup replays in recent seasons has been widely criticised in non-league football, and the criticism is justified. A replay meant a second match, second gate receipts, second television exposure, and second opportunity for players to be seen. For a club generating £3,000 to £4,000 per home match, a replay against a League One or Championship side represented £15,000 to £25,000 in additional income. That is 2 months of operating costs for many level 6 clubs. The decisions made at the top of the game always fall hardest at the bottom of the pyramid. That is true of parachute payments. It is true of FA Cup replays. It is true of almost everything that is decided without the lower levels of football having a seat at the table. There is a reason the English football pyramid has produced more professional players per capita than almost any other system in the world over the past 30 years. It is not because of Premier League academies. It is because 11,000 clubs at every level create 11,000 opportunities for talented people from every background to play competitive football and be seen by someone who can take them to the next level. The pyramid creates opportunity. The non-league transfer window is how that opportunity moves. That opportunity only exists because clubs with no money, no staff, no resources beyond what their community can generate are willing to run competitive football week after week. A manager working for nothing. A chairman funding the kit from personal savings. A supporter who drives the minibus to away games because someone has to. These are the people who hold the bottom of the pyramid up. Without them, the whole structure weakens. Without level 10, there is no level 1. Without the Sunday leagues, there are no Premier League academies. The chain goes all the way down. The transfer window at Premier League level generates hundreds of column inches and billions of pounds of media coverage every year. The transfer activity at level 7 generates nothing. No coverage, no broadcast, no analysis. But it is more important to the health of English football than any £100 million deal between 2 Premier League clubs, because the £100 million deal moves wealth between clubs that are already wealthy. The Level 7 registration, made on a Tuesday evening by a manager with a laptop and a Wi-Fi connection in a changing room that smells of liniment, might start the journey of the next Jamie Vardy. English football depends on both. It values only one. And that imbalance is worth understanding. Subscribe because the pyramid goes deeper than you think. Welcome to the Football Pyramid.